Well, we have very good presenters today, very qualified, maybe even overqualified. And our first presenter from Fortinet is Dante Mercurio, who, in addition to being the Director of Systems Engineering, MSSP, and Service Enablement at Fortinet, Dante is also a Certified Information Systems Security Professional, or CISSP. I'm sure you've seen that designation, and it's a very high designation within the security field. And lately, it's been compared to getting a master's degree. And Dante's also achieved Fortinet's Network Security Architecture designation, NSE7. And that recognizes advanced skills and the ability to deploy, administer, and troubleshoot Fortinet security solutions. So you're in good hands today. Dante is going to be co-presenting alongside Mike Chase, who many of you know is our Senior VP of Solutions Engineering. And Mike also has a very deep security background and technical background, and many, many certifications, including the Fortinet certifications as well. So with that being said, I'm going to turn the mic over to Dante, and we'll get started.
Thank you, Ellen, and thank you everyone for attending. One little piece about me that wasn't mentioned that's kind of relevant to this conversation is I also have a background in the carrier space from the security perspective. So I do have experience in a lot of the challenges that your organizations are having with their end customers and conversations and you know, handling security from a carrier perspective. So what we're going to be going over today is managed firewall services and adding it to your portfolio. And with any service, there are really three components. There is the what we tend to call the 3 Ps: the process, people, and product. My part is the product. That is Fortinet, and I'll be handing off to Mike to talk about the people and the process behind the service. So starting off, I'm going to give you a little bit about Fortinet. I'm going to tell you a little bit about where we see the business going and why it's important for your customers and some talking points for your customers, and tell you a little bit about our portfolio, and then I'll hand it off to Mike to talk about the secret sauce behind AireSpring services. So Fortinet was founded over 23 years ago, or close to 23 years ago, by the brothers Ken and Michael Z. They are very technical in their background. So Michael Z is our CTO, and we focus on chip design with our products, which has become a differentiator for our solution set. Over the last 23 years, we have a huge customer base. Our global base has grown from to almost, well, over 660,000 individual customers across the globe. I've been here at Fortinet going on 8 years, and I've seen that as exponential growth. Just within the 8 years I've been here, we've gone from just over $1 billion company to $5.5 billion. So very strong growth within our market, and it's reflective in the solution set. As I said, I came from a carrier-based solution provider. And one of the reasons I came over to Fortinet is having a background in security services. I saw the capabilities of the product portfolio and how it can be benefit MSSPs as a whole. And I hope to showcase some of that for you here. So one of the things we are seeing as a industry is some of your customers' challenges. And these are the things that you should be aware of as you're going to market with them and talking to them about some of their technology challenges as a whole. So while we are a security company first, one of the key components of that you'll hear in this is about a convergence of data connectivity and security. And that becomes an advantage for you in talking with your customers. And here are some of the challenges they're having. The first is that work is not a location anymore. At a previous position, it used to be described as work as an activity, not a location. And that's more so true now than it was even then. People are expecting to be able to access their work structure anywhere at any time. I remember talking to one of our security engineers, and he was saying he gave a presentation in a taxi on the way to the airport once. And that's the kind of connectivity, well, maybe that's a little extreme, but the expectation is that you can get to what you need to when you need to from anywhere, and it needs to be securely done. The other is broad assets across. SaaS is the new normal. I'd say that is probably no longer new. That is just the standard at this point. SaaS is across the board of any organization. They have a hybrid of environment involving applications and solutions that are also all over the place. So along with people being everywhere, you've got your what you need to access in your applications everywhere. Within the security industry, there's a skill shortage, which is really beneficial for your customers to be looking at organizations that can take on that challenge rather than try to higher up in the security field. I'll say smaller organizations have a very hard time keeping people, because what they end up doing is training those people until they can get into a position that they can no longer afford them. So looking at an MSSP where you can get a standard SLA across the board makes a lot of sense for many organizations. And with so many out there, there needs to be some aspects of what to choose. I like to say MSSPs like to sometimes tout their vendor agnostic. However, they're almost always vendor preferred. And so going with a product solution set that you know is that MSSP's preferred product, you know you're going to get it set up correctly, you know you're going to get it implemented correctly, and you know you're going to get a high level of service. So across the board with all those challenges, what it means from a high level is your customers are dealing with an increased complexity to their environment, with the people being everywhere and with the applications being everywhere and across different devices, and no matter where they are at, it's increasing the risk. So what they need to do, and what we believe our solutions help provide, is reduce the complexity to help reduce the risk. Right now, there has already been a convergence within the data center, and we are seeing it happen within the security structure. So Fortinet is on the forefront of a convergence of networking and security. So when you're looking at our solution set, it is not just the firewall, it is the secured SD-WAN solution and connectivity all in one solution. Our vision is to be able to provide both structures. We've seen this within the data centers with SOC, NOC internally converging, and now within the product sets to help reduce the complexity within an organization. If you look at just a typical organization that has a router, firewall, switch, APs, just at a branch office, and then multiply that out, you're looking at 4 or 5 different structures that need security logs reviewed and forwarded and all going to a single location. Fortinet helps converge that into one structure. So one FortiGate device has the potential to connect as a router, switch, Wi-Fi, and converge those security logs into a single stream, giving you more efficiency from a security perspective. Other benefits of convergence is overall reduced complexity. That gives you a better performance on security, as I mentioned there with the streams. That's an example. Our devices are well above industry average in regards to performance across the board. So you're gaining the ability to look into more data. Visibility across the network gets increased. So if you have the ability to look into SSL inspection as an example, it's going to give you a lot more security relevant data across the structure. We also, as an organization, are committed to sustainability goals, inclusive of being carbon neutral by 2013. Our new building headquarters in Sunnyvale, California, has been built to LEED's gold level sustainability and helping us along that goal. But above and beyond that, it helps with costs across the structure. So if we can do more with less, it's going to be more energy efficient. It's going to help your organizations in their data center take up less room, take up less HVAC, take up less power, and just from a cost perspective, be able to reduce their overall costs in regards to consumption. And then obviously we are a security organization, so delivery of high quality threat intelligence across our structure from our FortiGuard labs is key to our solution. So while we are on the forefront of performance, we are also very focused on the security aspect of our solutions too. So the convergence isn't just a better at one than the other. We're on the high level of both networking and security. And that's been proven through analysts as well. We have 37 independent analysts that have gone through and awards across the structure. So what we're seeing from a security platform, and what we're calling it a journey here, is that many organizations have security sprawl. They have too many structures that are doing too many things that don't talk to each other. So the historic methodology of this is to take every one of these security vendors and tie them all back to one logging system, and then have that SEM go through and try to sort through and spit out what's going to be the threats, and then have someone investigate it. As we're seeing this convergence, we have the opportunity in what we call our fabric to have these systems not just log to a single system and go through and be reactive, but to actually talk to each other. And so converging those systems and tying them into our fabric story allows the security functions to talk to each other and take action based upon those. And so we're seeing organizations do that and then migrate down to maybe 2 or 3 platforms. Well, Fortinet, we'd love you to be a single platform solution. We know that's probably not going to happen on the majority of structures, but reduction and allowing for automation and interconnectivity will reduce the risk of your customers by reducing to fewer vendors across their footprint. This helps across the entire digital structure. So you now, where there was historically trying to route everybody through a single border and through a single firewall, by allowing these solutions to talk to each other, and even different firewalls in different locations have the same level of security structure and be able to talk to each other. It doesn't matter where a person is, where they're located, or where they're connecting to. So while it looks confusing in regards to anybody, anywhere, going to anywhere at any time, you can create a holistic security structure that allows you to your customers to create a security structure that handles the posture for the entire organization in consistent fashion, irregardless of who's going there or where they're going. It is a single solution set that is going to be able to handle multiple structures as your customers grow. So unlike many point solutions, Fortinet is going to be able to grow with your customers and allow them to integrate additional solutions as their needs change. When we're building a security managed solution, on the bottom left-hand side, you'll see the managed network firewall, SD-WAN, SD-Branch solution set. That's our core. Securing the network is where you're going to start this journey, and that's through a managed firewall service structure. Then as they get into more advanced security structures as far as where they're going to go, you move into our client-based solutions. So for remote VPN, what is now ZTNA structures, allowing them to go to cloud resources, but with a consistent security structure. Securing the endpoints for more advanced and then more advanced SOC services, that's really AireSpring and where they're going to be taking over for the, because once you get above and beyond the more advanced structures here, that's where an MSSP is taking over and doing the 24/7 threat analytics. Portfolio-wise, for our core structure set is we have next generation firewalls ranging from what we call the desktop series or the branch series here, which is the 40 to 80 series, all the way up to the data center series of the 7000 and chassis-based systems. The unique thing from Fortinet's standpoint is our desktop series and our chassis series run the same operating system. What that means is there's consistency across an enterprise. If an organization is implementing data center protections, and they also have a need for small branch offices, it's going to be the same structure, the same interface, the same commands, the same, if they develop something, the same API calls, the same training that is going into managing the low-end series as the high-end series across the board. I mentioned earlier that our founders were chip designers. So if you see on here, you've got what it says a SOC 4, a CP9, an MP9. That's a content processor version 9 and a network processor version 6 and 7. These are unique processors that were developed by Fortinet for high performance for lower cost within these systems. So when we talk about our performance being 6x or 7x or 8x more, it's comparing these processing capabilities against a general CPU. And the cost structure is much lower on these. So we're able to develop core processing solutions that accelerate your customer security as well as their networking, and be able to do it at a very cost-effective price point. SD-WAN is core to this data and security structure and convergence. And what we're seeing across the market is a leveling down of just core branch router connectivity and a big upswing in the SD-WAN market in general. This gives you guys an opportunity to, one, converge that function in with a firewall, managed firewall service, and gain the upsell structure of both the connectivity with secure SD-WAN and then the security structure through managed firewall and the capabilities that we have on our boxes for the security function. Overall, from a managed security services market standpoint, we're seeing a very large increase across the board, both in spending. According to Gartner CFO survey, 77% of cybersecurity spending are going externally to managed security services. That means your customers are looking at managed security services, and you should be looking to offer them. The annual growth rate of MSS services in general is very large, looking at 12% year over year, expected between 2022 and 2027, and that's over the entire security market. There's individual structures that are even bigger than the 12%. That leads us to a $50 billion addressable market by 2027 in the managed security services space. So something that you should definitely be looking at and looking to offer to your organizations. So with that, that is our technology, and that again is the product and the people, processes, and product piece. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Mike, and he's going to tell you a little more about AireSpring.
Hey, Dante. All right, let me get mouse control here. There we go. So why is managed security important? Well, managed security is important because the vast majority of customers out there are missing some fundamental security pieces. For example, standardized deployment across all their offices, data centers, and cloud. Not all vendors out there make all these form factors, but AireSpring today already has managed firewall services deployed all over the globe in both virtual and physical form factors, all supplied by Fortinet. The second reason, they lack the professional security personnel as well as the budget to implement an industry practice. security environment, right? And that was in Dante's slide where you see that 3.4 million security jobs are currently unfilled. It's one of the biggest gaps in IT moving forward. But why is security and security personnel so important? Because anything that isn't secure isn't actually usable. So to get the most out of your IT environment, it has to be 100% secure. And yet people are looking around, they can't seem to hire the staff, or they just don't have the budget to hire them. Because it's more than just hiring one security person, right? You've got to have a backup person, you've got to have a team, and almost nobody has that these days. I mean, only really large companies, and even they're doing a poor job of it. Number three, without proper security, the entire business is at risk. You've seen that with loss in public confidence. It causes stocks to tumble. Mitigation costs, like having to buy credit reporting, so many times there where customer information has been breached, and buying that is expensive, but it's kind of sent as a gift. I mean, me personally, I've probably had 5 or 6 companies, get breached and lose my consumer data, right? And they had to buy me credit monitoring. I've got so many different credit monitors, it's ridiculous. That's expensive to the business, not only when they get hacked, but then when they have to provide this to customers. And in many states, when you're breached, reporting that you've been breached, which is embarrassing, humiliating, and costly, is mandatory, right? So keeping existing customers or acquiring new ones becomes impossibly challenging when you have a reputation for being breached. Bottom line, nobody trusts you or your business. They take it as a sign of incompetence or that you just don't care. So they'd rather do business with somebody else, right? So why did AireSpring choose Fortinet's FortiGate firewall solution? Well, number one, 98% of firewalls don't see 98% of their traffic, so they can't filter what they can't see. Makes sense, right? To handle over 30 different cryptographic ciphers used in nearly every application and over 1 billion websites, you need a hardware chipset, as Dante was mentioning earlier, that can decrypt, filter, and re-encrypt that traffic as close to wire speed as possible. Users don't want slowdowns, and they don't want loss of throughput. Bottom line, Fortinet has the chips. So that's a big reason why we selected them. The other reason, Fortinet is a global company. If you looked at them 9 years ago, they had 2,400 employees and about $1 billion in revenue. Today, they're over 13,000 employees and north of $5 billion in revenue. And like AireSpring, they're a truly global player, capable of delivering, maintaining, repairing, and supporting everything we both sell worldwide. Also, last but not least, SASE, Secure Access Service Edge products, are now poised to dominate the landscape. And it takes these types of 800-pound gorilla resources to deliver a SASE architecture globally, and Fortinet is definitely a company up for the task. So that's why we selected them versus, you see many competitors that are out there in this field. So why buy into managed security? I mean, why not do it yourself, right? Well, number one, I mean, do you really want that call at 2 in the morning? Are you truly capable of delivering these solutions in 190 plus countries? Are you Fortinet certified as a security expert? Are you a CISSP or an NSE? Probably not. So, having AireSpring do the heavy lifting is a huge benefit to both you and your customer. The other thing is, every 3 years, you should be upgrading your security infrastructure to remain relevant, right? To remain state of the art. So how do you properly dispose of all that hardware, all that gear? How do you seamlessly insert new gear and restore your old configs while at the same time bringing those configs up to the latest industry best practices for the current threat landscape? With AireSpring, it's easy because at renewal time, you can replace all your gear with new equipment so that you're never using outdated hardware. And it means that you can also upgrade your circuit speeds and other capabilities. One other point I'd like to make is, as agents, your spiffs are renewed at that point. So when the customer renews, your spiffs get paid out all over again as if you had just found the opportunity and sold it. So that's kind of a nice thing to have happen every 3 years while your customers get new gear and getting updated configs and getting the best practices put in all over again and getting that done seamlessly through one company. Last but not least, meanwhile, all of this supported by AireSpring personnel who are Fortinet NSE 1 through 7 certified, helping you every step of the way. I personally am NSE 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 7 certified. So you get a lot of competent people. We've got a great relationship with Fortinet to get these things done. So why offer managed security services? Well, it enhances the value to your customers. I mean, again, they don't usually have the budget. They can't find the personnel, even if they have the budget, because there's 3.4 million unfilled jobs out there in the security industry. And a lot of our solutions start off at less than $100 a month. So think about that for a minute, particularly with your small customers, right? Less than $100 a month, you get the hardware, you get the software, you get a best practice industry implementation, maintenance, upgrades of both that software At the end of the 3 years, you get an upgrade to the hardware as well. I mean, one of the most frustrating things when you're an agent is you call up your customer, particularly on the circuits, right? And you say, hey, Joe, how about twice the bandwidth for half the price? He says, yeah, you know, I got to think about it. And the reason Joe's thinking about it when you make this otherwise no-brainer offer is they don't have a firewall that can even handle those circuits, right? Or it's a migration of those services. And during the pandemic, nobody could even get to their data centers. So they really didn't want to go monkeying around swapping things out. They just wanted things to stay stable and to run, right? But it really puts a cramp in a lot of the other parts of your business. As you guys know, we're a one-stop shop. Fortinet really is too. They make a lot of products that address every security need you can possibly imagine. We actually supply FortiManager and FortiAnalyzer, so there's ease of management. We do give out read-only and read-write access to those platforms. And when you look at FortiManager and FortiAnalyzer, just from a cost basis, companies would have to put out a minimum of about $40,000 plus implementation costs to get those put in. So they get that for free, just selling the solution through AireSpring. And the Fortinet reps love it too, because automatically it's broken down to an OpEx, not a CapEx cost. So the customer doesn't have to go look for leasing. They don't have to dive into their cash flow, their piggy bank. It's all taken care of in a very easy to deliver solution that, again, starts off at less than $100 a month. Anybody can afford this. Products are more effective when they're integrated. That's a big kind of theme in the architecture with Fortinet, is you're not having to go collect logs and your security posture and from all these different devices. All of this fits together, whether it's LAN switching, Wi-Fi, the management platforms, the firewalls. All of these components are made to work together into one cohesive fabric, as Fortinet likes to call it. And again, very cost effective. I mean, you can't find highly effective, high value security solutions out there, and that was always the problem. For less than $100 a month, right? It was always too expensive and too complex for customers to put in. And then, of course, the commissions, as you guys know, level 1 through 6, you can get paid, anywhere from 5 to 30%. You get your SPIS renewed when the customer renews. There's a lot of benefits to selling these. We want you guys to be profitable, as well as your customers to save a ton of money and have a lot of value, and it definitely delivers on that. So AireSpring's managed firewall service versus doing it yourself has some huge advantages, right? Because again, great security has traditionally either been too expensive or too complex for most customers to effectively utilize. AireSpring makes security affordable and turnkey, and that's what a lot of customers are looking for. Henry Nicholas, who founded Broadcom, said to me one time when I was taking a walk with me, we were having a security conversation. He said, I get it. I know that I need security. I know it's like oxygen. You got to breathe it. Without it, I'm going to die. But I don't want to think about it every breath, right? And that's how customers feel about security. They know they need it, but they want to be able to afford it. They just want it to work, make it turnkey. That's what we're able to deliver versus, doing it yourself. So some examples. When customers had to move thousands of employees from office to home worldwide during the pandemic, AireSpring was able to instantly provide remote access VPN using Fortinet solutions and link to offices, homes, and data centers together securely and quickly. As anyone can tell you who made that transition, time is money. So getting your business back on track with whatever challenges come your way is essential to survival. And you guys as AireSpring agents know that better than anyone.
So at this point, we want to talk to you about how you prospect and sell a managed firewall service. And the approach does differ a little bit by the size of the organization. Now, the target accounts, you can look for as organizations that are looking to replace any legacy systems, old firewalls that really are not effective anymore. And Dante, you can jump in here too as you feel fit. And if you need that zero trust network access, and they're dealing with a lot of remote employees, as Dante pointed out earlier, and if they're upgrading data centers, improving the campus security, or actually shoring up their work from anywhere strategies. This applies to all verticals, pretty much. Dante, did you want to jump in here?
Yeah, well, I'll just offer some color there too. So it gives you an opportunity to do this. You don't need to wait for a security solution in regards to that when you're looking at the managed firewall service. It's a convergence. So it allows you to talk about ZTNA and some other capabilities. When we're talking about verticals, retail, we play really well. Our solution plays really well in the retail market.
I'm back. Sorry, I guess I had an audio issue there. Can you guys hear me?
We can, Mike. Yes.
Right,
You know,
hold on a second.
we went ahead and moved the slide forward. Did you have other points you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just want to say many customers judge their firewall filtering capabilities by where they cannot get to, right? And unfortunately, that doesn't mean that the traffic is actually being filtered and checked for deeper threats. And so that's very, very important. That's why a lot of customers think their firewall is working when in fact it's 4 years, 5 years old, probably needs to be replaced. And a lot of those customers haven't purchased a firewall in the last 2 or 3 years. And as so, they're likely outdated or misconfigured or not realizing their solution's maximum potential. So it's very important to swap those out, and that's why we do that every 3 years roughly. So if you give me mouse control, we'll keep moving forward. Hopefully the audio stays there. There must be some one-way audio going on. Let's see, do I have mouse control? Yeah.
You should, Mike.
Going forward. There we go. So how do you discover, these opportunities that are out there, right? So find out, what do customers have? How long have they had it? What is their security posture? What analytics tell them for sure on a daily, weekly, monthly basis they're secure or not, right? How many security vendor solutions do they have in their security mix? Isn't that tiresome? Ask if they're spread out across offices, home, data center, and cloud. Is their solution truly unified? Is their current firewall capable of handling the load of bandwidth doubling? So when you call and say, Joe, twice the bandwidth's half the price, what do you think? He goes, yeah, give it to me, right? They didn't have to think about it. Or are all users working from home on a moment's notice or leveraging cloud connectivity to enhance their scale and reach? That's where you need a partner who's going to be able to, bring the right solutions to the table and scale them out and meet those challenges, right? Go forward. The smaller enterprises really wanted a portable solution that's industry best practice that can forget, they can basically forget about it because all their energy is focused on their growth. You can't grow if you're constantly plagued by malware, downtime, and IT hassles. They are therefore the most receptive to changing their security portfolio versus the big guys who are more entrenched, right? When you're basically presenting them with our all-in turnkey managed Fortinet firewalls, which start off at less than $100 a month. So when you focus on the cost, you focus on the ease of implementation, all the headache it's going to take care of for them. The small guys are almost always in, right? So discovery questions when dealing with the smaller companies, focus on the cost, focus on the time you'll save them using a managed solution, the visibility they'll have via the analytics to know that the money they're spending is delivering value, right? So ask them if they or others they know in their industry have suffered from malware or other security incidents. Would they like to solve for that? The answer is almost inevitably going to be yes, right? So a couple of case studies here. Live customer example of this is the second largest book retailer in the USA. This customer is well respected, been in business for over 100 years, needed firewalls, hosted phones, redundant circuits, and wireless failover installed at over 243 locations in 90 days just before the holiday season last year. AireSpring delivered. Our partnership with Fortinet has strongly these solutions work well. And as a result, the customer is now starting a phase 2 implementation where AireSpring will be installing Fortinet Wi-Fi and LAN switching solutions so that they can extend the security infrastructure down to the port and the device level through every brick and mortar store, office, and fulfillment warehouse they have nationwide. The agent on this, by the way, was just a regular guy doing some side work, including cabling, had attended one of the boot camps I teach on security, SD-WAN, and SASE, and quite simply had the guts to bring it up to the customer and ended up landing a massive opportunity and truly saved this customer a fortune as well. If that's not the very definition of win-win, I don't know what is, but it was a pleasure to fly out there and shake this guy's hand, which I did. Now, not just nationwide, but worldwide, AireSpring has implemented Fortinet solutions, including for a global multi-billion-dollar manufacturer. AireSpring has the ability to deliver Fortinet firewalls, internet circuits, and LTE in over 190 countries worldwide. Might be news to some of you guys. Shouldn't be, but this is an opportunity to do exactly that. This customer is also diving deeper into Fortinet solutions. I was informed yesterday they're looking for an additional $1 million in gear on an account that's already billing 6 figures a month, right? So in conclusion, there is no better way globally to deliver affordable high-end security than the partnership between Fortinet and AireSpring. This year, I became NSE 1 through 7 certified, and I can tell you honestly that I couldn't have done it or even wanted to without the fantastic support we get from Fortinet. My Fortinet rep, Rocky, has answered emails from me at 2 in the morning. Why was I up at 2 in the morning? Well, I was studying to get NSE certified. And their organization with Dante and so many others on board is absolutely top-notch. And that's why you see the revenue on a hockey stick upward climb, but also the number of employees. It is industry experts who flock to Fortinet hoping to work So some quick takeaways before we get to Q&A. Next slide here. Number one, the future is managed services. Technology is a tool for business. The business isn't, in most cases at least, there to muck with the technology. Number two, humans are intuitively interactive, and so collaboration is the key to success in almost any endeavor. If you want to get maximum value for the least cost and least effort, then doing it all together is the way up, right? Number three, to get those opportunities, identify your customers' constraints, gaps, and needs, and you'll find that they're easy to find, point out, and solve for those solutions. Last but not least, AireSpring has 3 brothers running our company for the last 20 years, and Fortinet has 2 brothers running theirs. So when I say it's one big happy family, we're not joking. And both companies are global gorillas capable of the largest Fortune 500 needs or our sacred one-site mom and pop shop. We never forget our roots at either company. It's one deal at a time that has made us who we are, right? And on that note, we'll open it up to Q&A, but I wanted to personally thank you, our agents, for the opportunity you've brought us in the past and every opportunity you will trust us with in the future, because both our companies are channel-based. Fortinet doesn't sell anything without a partner involved, and neither does AireSpring.